Oh, hey, did they ever unfreeze Walt Disney? Unfortunately.
Welcome back, Mr. Disney.
Are the Jews gone yet?
No.
Put me back in.
I suppose you want a kiss.
It seems kind of odd that it's 2009 and this is the first Black Disney princess. Like, I didn't even realize that.
Maddie does seem a lot like Madeline, and I have a bunch of friends named Maddie who are also named Madeline, so it didn't occur to me that that could be a racist name for a Black princess.
People would be complaining if her name was Sarah. Why can't you have a Black name? You know, it's everybody has. There's always two sides of the story, and people don't tend to see the gray.
I noticed that she had like more natural looking hair. The first few trials, the one that was in the preview, she had like her hair pulled back in a bun type thing. It almost looked as if her hair was like permed or something like that. It almost feels to me as if the princess's blackness or her beauty needs to be validated by a non-Black individual, which I find to be a problem.
The fact that the prince is not, you know, a white Prince Charming, and it seems like from the trailer that he's sort of not the knight in shining armor either. It seems like there's definitely a power play, and she actually has an active role.
It almost seems as if they just have this mold and then they just painted it black for this movie, that's all.
The problem with race is that you can never win with it. It's either one way is messed up or the other way is messed up. I was like, all right, but we didn't have a character and you got mad about it. Now we do have a character and you're still getting mad about it. There's no common ground where they can find it at.
Well, in this situation, the way the story is playing out, I think it's okay, because first of all, we see her as a human and she's under a spell and she's been turned into a frog. If you look at the crows and what was it? I think his name was Louis in the Jungle Book. They were always animals and they had no like human. They were not connected to like the human aspect at all. So I think that was blatantly offensive. That was trying to be offensive.
I don't remember how old I was, but it was the first time that people told me that in the movie Dumbo, the crows were a racial stereotype. And like when I was watching the movie, like I didn't know that. I was like, oh, these crows can like sing, you know? And so when I realized that there's supposed to be a racial stereotype, I went back and watched it, and I was like, oh geez, that actually like is really true. But I didn't realize that as a kid, and I don't think it had any significant like impact on me.
Dumbo, movies like that, they're made at a time where, you know, there was racism, there were things like that, and you have to put those stereotypes in, because if you put unrealistic stuff in, people aren't going to believe. They're like, this isn't real, this isn't what the world is like.
With the muses from Hercules or some characters like that, you know, it's a little different, it's a little gray, I guess.
Lighten up, dude.
We'll take it from here, darling.
You go, girl.
They are having that stereotypical, you know, jivey Negro stereotype, and you know that may be a problem.
Why deny it?
It's 2009. You can't have any type of racist connotations in this movie, especially when you had all this time to do it right.
Color never mattered to me. I saw them and they were my model for princess, so I thought I could become a princess. I never said I'm Black, so I can't be a princess.
I don't feel that my sisters had aspirations to be princesses, only because we had never seen a Disney princess or a Disney prince that was Black. Beauty and the Beast, Belle could have been Black. You know, it's that simple.
I mean, the princess, they have to be some color, right? I mean, you can't just have like a transparent, it doesn't work.
When Aladdin and Pocahontas came out, I didn't have friends who were Native American or from the Middle East, so I don't know how that affected them. But I do remember when Mulan came out, a couple of my Chinese friends from like grade school, right? We were in like 5th grade when that came out. I remember they were excited.
Well, my mother always told me I was gonna have trouble because I'm a Black woman. So when you watch these movies, you're like, yeah, I don't really see any black women. That might be a problem. So it did sort of become like, maybe Disney was telling me something that I just wasn't catching, you know? As a little girl, I never thought, you know, maybe I'm too dark.
I grew up not watching that many Disney movies, and I think that was probably good for me.
I want her paler than the moon, with eyes that shine like stars. My girl will marvel at my strength, adore my battle scars.
I couldn't care less what she'll wear or what she looks like. It all depends on what she cooks like.
What I realized when I'm drawing like the princesses, they're all basically the same. Like their body shape is all the same. And if you look at their, like the proportion of their body, like their waist is super small. And then they have like really long legs.
Some girls, I know girls anorexic, bulimic, because they see these movies and not just this, but other images on TV, and they think, you know, everyone's supposed to be like that. I mean, even I sometimes have problems and issues with that.
I've heard a lot of things about the average woman being a size 14. I mean, it's hard for me to believe. And I'm like, Jasmine is insanely, her body is insane. I don't know anybody who could actually have those proportions and be okay.
Kind of saying that like across all these different like ethnicities, or even if it's not ethnicities, all these different social statuses, then it's like, oh, well, if you want to be a princess, you should have this body type. So.
When's it my turn? Wouldn't I love to explore that shore up above?
The message that is sent to young girls is actually kind of worrying, you know. Princess Ariel gives up her voice for a man. That's a problem. Why is she giving up her voice? Why is she giving up her ability to speak just to be with a guy?
Belle herself was, you know, abnormal. She was a smart woman. She was able to see behind, you know, the appearances, what we're all into these days is young, shallow people.
In Mulan, they didn't like her because she had a brain. She didn't want to be the typical wife.
You know, that movie is about gender, and all these girls like that one best because she goes off and does exactly what the guys can do.
I noticed that in a lot of Disney movies, they try to repress what the female has to say.
How about a girl who's got a brain, who always speaks her mind?
Nah. I don't think that they're watching, say, Snow White, and then they're thinking, oh, what's important for me is to be submissive and kind of lame.
So now we have a black princess. How long is it going to be till we get the black prince?
Whatever they do will be seen as a reflection on the way we as a society think about race and gender. Because they're seen as just like such the standard for children's entertainment.
Like, oh yeah, black princess, white princess, it's a great story, and it wouldn't have to be a big deal, but I guess because of the history, because it has in the past been so limited, it's going to take a little period of it being a big deal.
You can't make everybody in America happy with the same Disney movie. But I am not discouraged by the trend in Disney movies. I think it's a good thing.
Like she said in Little Princess, there's a princess in all of us, right? So as long as you remember that, as long as you know that deep down inside, it doesn't really matter what Disney tells you is great.
It's gonna be good!
Walt Disney Pictures, The Princess and the Frog.